Hey everybody, this is day 29 of the Rogue devlog. I'm going to show you what I've added to the game, and then I'll go over the code on how I did it. Longtime watchers will see that the text here looks different. That's just me experimenting with changing the font type around just to be anything other than standard Arial. But that's not the real changes. If we go into the versus mode, I've changed the way versus mode works. So I'm going to go ahead and pick one stage. It's not going to be the same. So now, when I defeat an enemy, as you can see up here, they get their own upgrade menu. So I can pick like bullet power, come back in, and bam. So what you'll see here is that after I pick an upgrade, I'm invincible for a short time. Like while you got that white circle around you, you're invincible. So the goal here is simply that you're going to be in a match with other players, and every time you pick an upgrade, your maximum armor also increases. So I got 5 now. So you're gonna fight, and every time you die, you pick an upgrade, and the other person gets a point. You can see the points in the top corners of the screen, and you can change in the settings how many points you want to go to. And the versus settings is now simply end at points or end at time, and you can change how much time you want to go to, or how many points you want to go to. But that is now the way that it works. So let's go ahead and get into the code part of it. First of all, each player has their own upgrade menu now. So in the player object, the draw GUI event, there's now this if versus mode and room not title, then draw. If upgrade menu is 0, it creates these variables for reference and all these draw settings. But then there's a switch that just picks what player number you are, so it knows, and then it updates the drawing XY positions and other things just to know where to draw the player's stats, because each player is going to be doing this separately. And then down here you've got your draw, your upgrade cards, draw what upgrade it is. Oh yeah, each player also has their own upgrade randomizer. So that's a new thing, where in the main campaign, the game object itself tracks the upgrades and randomizes it because I want each player to pick from the same list of upgrades. But this way, each player has their own separate upgrades to pick from. I also have this if player number is less than 3, you're going to draw the cursor sprite in a different position, plus 126, versus if you're 3 or 4, you're going to draw that sprite minus 6. Which basically means if your players 1 or 2, you're going to draw their cursor at the bottom of the cards. If your players 3 or 4, you're going to draw the cursor at the top of the cards, because the cards are going to be put into the corners of the screen, and so you want the cursor to be in the right spot so that the player can see them. Down here we've got basically the same kind of code as the main game objects draw upgrades, only now it's referencing all these dx and dy variables that we just set up here. And they're also different cards. I did have to create a shortened down card for drawing the individual players' upgrades on. That way they can fit into a smaller screen space. And again, this is checking what upgrade 1 is. And upgrade 2 does the same thing. Upgrade 3 again, just being drawn in different spots. And then when not in upgrade menu, it also does the switch for the player number again to draw the player's scores. So whenever you're not in the upgrade menu, it's drawing your score in the corner of the screen, based on what player number you are. And then end if versus mode, else if, and this is basically the same. This is the regular campaign upgrade menu drawing stuff right here. As for the game object itself, it was actually pretty simple. I just have this if versus mode check right here. Well, I already had this part before. If object enemies exist, destroy them, because in versus mode there's not going to be any neutral enemies. And then I have this winner variable equals the max of wins for player 1, player 2, player 3, and player 4. The player with the most wins, it takes that number of wins and makes that the winner number. I also have this variable here to find out who's in second, because I don't want there to ever be a tie. In the point match, that shouldn't ever happen because no two players should ever kill each other at the same time to get the max score. But if that condition did happen, or more likely in a timed match, if time runs out and 2 players who have the same most points, then in that case I don't want the match to end until somebody gets the lead. So right here, if winner is equal, if the winner number, which is how many wins, is equal to player 1's wins, I basically have to find out which player actually won. After finding out the highest score amongst all of the players, I find out which player has that score. And that's what this does here. If winner is player 1, basically, then second becomes the max of player 2, player 3, or player 4. And then else, if it's player 2, then find the max of player 1, player 3, and player 4. Basically exclude the player who is winning and make them second. Then I have if win condition equals 0. Well, the win condition is actually 0 or 1. 0 for points, 1 for time. And then I have wins end, which is specifically for points, and time end, which is, of course, for time. So first it checks if win condition is 0, meaning we're doing points. Then it checks if player 1's wins equals the wins end setting, which is how many points we want to go to, or win 2, or player 2, or player 3, or player 4. Basically, if any player has the number of wins needed, and we're using wins as a determining ending position, or if win condition is 1, then we're doing time, and the number of points for winner does not equal the number of points for second, meaning first and second are not tied, and versus min plus versus second equals 0, basically the time has run out, then we have reached our end game state. At which point we use the switch for the winner, and if the case is wins for player 1 or wins for player 2, wins for player 3, find out who won, and then checking with player object if player number is 1. Basically, if the winner is player 1, we go for all the player objects and check if the player number is player 1, which will just give us the one player object. Then object game match wins of that tank's bullet type plus plus, so plus 1. So this is just a kind of a way of making sure I get the right winning player's tank type added to the records of who won. And then again with all players, update their stats, which is going to be needed for the end screen, and also object game matches for each tank's bullet type, add 1. So yes, if 2 tanks have the same type, this will add 2 to the total number of matches. And then destroy all the players, because that is going to trigger the actual end screen as if it were a game over, but as shown previously, it's going to check if you're in versus mode, and if so, it's going to do the versus mode ending. So let's go ahead and go back into the draw state. Instead of just straight up deleting it, let's just comment it out. And then change it. Do a line break here. And delete all the rest of this. Let's see how that looks. Alright, so I still have some text tinkering to do, but otherwise it's looking fine. So yeah, that is pretty much the gist of what is new. Recreating the versus mode to be totally different is basically what I spent all day doing today. Feel free to ask me for any more details in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.